Hi, so I'm going to share my weekly review system with you. And this is really important to do because as a trader, you should know every week how you're performing. And I think sometimes as traders, the days go really fast, the weeks go really fast. Before you know it, you've got months of just confusion, blown accounts, um, bad records, and you don't really know what you're doing wrong, what you're doing right. There's no clarity. So it's really important to every week review what you've done so that you can start getting the data to support your understanding. And oftentimes, I'm always surprised when I do my weekly review how different the results are to my feeling of the results. So I often feel like I've been terrible, or sometimes I feel like I've been great, or sometimes I feel like I've been confused, or I don't know, like all these different expectations of how I think I've performed. And then when you actually get the stats, it tells you a completely different story. And oftentimes it's when I'm feeling really, really bad about how I've traded that week. And then I actually do the stats and I see that actually I've done really well, but there's been two mistakes that have been so consistent. I've actually done those same mistakes for weeks, and those mistakes wiped out all my profits. And it's, the other 10 trades were great. So 80% is great. And then you're making two mistakes that are making such an impact on how you're trading. And as I show you my weekly review, I'll tell you the one thing that made all the difference to me. Okay, so the other point about me making a system for your weekly review is that most people do this weekly review completely wrong. So first of all, people aren't doing it, but the traders that are doing it, most of them are doing this wrong. And so they're not getting the outcome that you really want they're not getting the advantages of doing this weekly review. Okay, let's talk about it. So the purpose of the weekly review is to understand how you are performing different to your backtesting results. How is your performance on your live trading differing from when you've done your backtesting? And therefore you're getting different results. So there's a common problem where people feel like I did great at demo trading, I did great at backtesting, my backtesting results is like 80% win rates. But then when I put it into live trading, it doesn't work. And therefore, the strategy doesn't work. And it's actually completely wrong. It's that when you go into live trading, your performance sometimes is different to how you would perform when you do back testing. And so your weekly review is only to do that, is only to understand how is your performance different from your back testing results. This is not the time, and this is what most traders do incorrectly. This is not the time to be looking at improvements or changes to your strategy. This isn't the time to look at, actually, this week had actually that moved up quite well. I should have been on that. I should have traded like this. This isn't what that review is about. It's got nothing to do with the market's analysis. It's purely looking at what would you have said your backtesting results were this week, and what have you done in live performance? That's all we're doing. Okay, so number one, you've got to fix that and actually analyze the correct information while you're doing this. Otherwise, you're wasting your time. So how do we actually do our backtesting review? So it's 6 simple steps. So this is our system. And in my newsletter this week, I share these steps, and shortly I'm going to be sending out an actual template to my subscribers on the newsletter to use for their weekly review. And I do lots of templates for other systems to support your trading. So if you haven't subscribed yet, there'll be a link below to join my newsletter, and you get my free Funded Traders Blueprint ebook when you join that free subscription. So let's talk about the weekly review system. Okay, so we've got 6 steps. Number 1 is go through and make sure that you've recorded all the trades you've taken this week. So as the week progresses, we sometimes get a little bit not so good on our record keeping. Okay, so go and record every trade you took, or check that you've recorded this. And if you haven't got all your records, it might be an improvement point that you want to say that as you take a trade, you should be doing a record and taking information down about that trade, and if it's if at the time you believe it's meeting all your rules. Number two, you want to take a completely clean chart, and you want to go through every asset, pair, instrument, share, I don't care what you've traded, go and find the chart, clean it up, and redo the whole week as if you're doing back testing, and look at everything, like anything that meets your rules as you would do in back testing, and record this in your live back testing log. Okay, that's step number two. Step number three is we're going to run the analysis. Now, there's three things you want to analyze here. One is how many the trades you've taken versus the trades that were allowed. So how many trades did you miss? How many trades when you're back testing that aren't in your live testing? Okay, we call these the missed trades. So you want to know how many, and you can work that out also as a percentage. So if you've got a high percentage of missed trades, it's a space for improvement. It means that you're not seeing your trades in live trading. You're not able to recognize them in the moment, so you're missing them. Okay. Secondly, you want to identify any trades that's in your live trading log that aren't in your back testing. This is telling us that you have taken trades, fictitious trades that don't meet your rules. You've taken them. Okay. So you want to know how many of those, I don't care if they're winners or losers, I want to know how many. How many have you taken as a percentage as well of how many trades? So if you've taken 2, but you took 100 trades this week, it's not bad, okay? If you've taken 2 and you only took 3 trades this week, it's pretty bad, okay? Let's also not qualify yet bad and good. We just want information now. Don't judge yourself, and I'm not judging you either, okay? I judge myself, but try not to judge yourself, right? And then you want to know of the trades you've taken that are real trades, so they're in your back testing log and you took them, so good on you, you actually recognized them and you were brave enough to take them, but you made an error. So the error could be you took the wrong entry, you placed the stop loss in the wrong place, you took the wrong, you fumbled it somehow. So just record that it's an error, and you want to know how many trades you had errors on. Okay. These are just stats. We don't want to know results. We don't want to know winners or losers. We're not interested in win rate here. It's got nothing to do with that. This is just performance. Okay. How many trades did you miss? How many fictitious trades did you take? And so how many trades did you miss? Either it's because you had FOMO, you missed because you had doubts and fears, or you just didn't recognize the trade. Okay. So missed trades, there's 2 kind of types. How many fictitious trades did you take? Normally, this is a FOMO. The reason for this is FOMO. You've seen a trade and you kind of something, whether it was conscious or not, you didn't care that it was part of your rules or not, but you felt you needed to take it. It's usually FOMO. And the other one is errors. Usually, there's an emotional feel to it. You took an entry too early because you had a bit of FOMO, you moved the stop loss because you had a bit of fear, you overtrailed it, you moved the break even when you shouldn't have. These are all emotional problems normally. So now you've got your analysis, you've got your data of these 3 really important KPIs that you need to understand. How are you performing against these KPIs? And then you're going to have a look across them, do your own analysis, and the one that you feel had the biggest impact or you're doing the most often, this becomes your fix, your one fix for the week. Okay. Now you're going to focus on one fix and you're going to work really hard the next week to try and eliminate that as an error next week. Okay. If during the week you start fixing other things, great, but you want just one, because we've got to focus on just incremental changes. You don't want to get to next week and have fixed nothing. Okay, so rather fix just one thing than try and think next week you're going to be perfect. It doesn't matter. It's not about perfection. It's about improvement. Okay. Number 5, if you, during this review, find strategy issues, so issues with your rules, something's not clear, something's not, you've never seen this type of trades, you're not sure if it's a rule or not, you're not sure if you should trade it or not, just something was not clear. This is not the time to fix that either. You're going to have a separate piece of paper that you would know about if you follow my systems and trading processes. You're going to have a piece of paper that is entitled open questions. And this is where you say, you write down, jot down any open questions. You should do this while you're trading as well. If anything is not clear while you're trading, don't make up rules in the moment. It's just not clear. So if you're not clear, probably don't take the trade. And write it down there. If during your weekly review you find things like this, you didn't take the trade, not because you had fear, but because you just didn't know if it was a trade or not. And I had one of these this week as well. And I didn't take the trade. I don't know if it's going to win or lose, doesn't matter. But I didn't take the trade because my rules aren't clear. That rule goes in my open questions list. And at the end of July, which is my next optimization cycle, I'm going to go through all of those questions and all of my rules and go, which ones do I want to change? Which ones don't I want to change? And I'm going to go through my back testing. It's a whole process and system in its own right. Don't use your weekly review to start ad hoc making changes to your rules, because if you haven't taken it through back testing, this is where we kind of like, you'll make those changes this week, then next week those changes won't work, and you miss trades that you should have taken, then you change it back, and you start going back in loops, just not really making progress. Don't start making changes to your strategy now. You're going to do it in an orderly, systemic way during the optimization cycle. And I'm going to tell you all about that system in another newsletter. So back to the weekly review. So you've isolated your strategy issues and you're not losing them, you're just parking them, okay, so that you're not overwhelmed with trying to do everything. And then finally, you're going to have this weekly stat. You're going to have your number of missed trades, your percentages, you're going to have done analysis, and you're going to have clarity about what actually led to your results not mirroring your back testing. And it's going to give you such a deep insight. You're going to be absolutely amazed. And actually, if you follow this process and this system next week, drop me a note in the comment of how it impacted you, how it differed from what you were expecting. And then as part of number 6, share this. Share your results with your mentor or with an accountability group or with a spouse if they're interested in how your trading's going. It's really good to keep yourself accountable and have an accountability partner somewhere. Even if you just post it to a blog and nobody reads it, you're still going to feel more accountable. And you're going to use those stats as a comparison for next week, and you can use those stats to compare your stats from last week. And you're going to see, have I made a small improvement? Even if it's just one error that you had last week, you're not seeing this week. It's an improvement. And slowly you're going to start realizing the errors that keep popping up and you keep kind of like whack-a-mole, you're going to stop doing those. One error I had that I made a lot, especially when I started trading, was I would move my stop loss. Sometimes I just felt like mid-trade, I'd be like, oh, I'm getting a bit nervous, I'm just going to move it. I haven't moved my stop loss for years. It's like something I just don't do. It's like let me think of other things I know how to do that I would never think of doing that. I can't really think of something. But so for example, I play tennis, and when you go for a volley, something you do at the very start when you're playing badly is you volley with, you really kind of go in and swap and whack it like that. Now a volley it's just a push, a slight push, because you're right at the net. You don't need to do that. And I did that for ages, and now I don't do it anymore because it's just second nature to me. Same as I don't move my stop loss. I don't risk too much. There's a lot of things I just do as second nature. I just don't do those things anymore. And there's other things that keep cropping up that I still do. Everyone's going to make mistakes and have errors. It's not about perfection. It's just about trying to make as many errors to avoid them. The avoidance behavior becomes second nature. That's what you're trying to do here. I want to quickly show you my results from this week. It happens to be a bit of a quiet week and quite a good week for me, but I want to show you, because I also had a couple of errors, and I want to show you my results because before I did my weekly review, I felt like I was a bit disappointed with myself this week. I felt that there were loads of trades that I had missed, that I felt fearful on, and I was thinking, why am I so scared this week? What's going on with me? And that's the feeling I had coming into my review. So I want to share these results and then talk about how the results actually made me feel. Okay, so here's my result for the week. So like I was saying, when I finished the week, I felt like I had been fearful, overly fearful during the week for some reason, and missed a lot of trades, and I couldn't really, I was like, I've got to figure this out. I'll have to wait till the weekend and look at my review. Okay, so I kind of then just turned to the hard data. Now, this week, I had 5 trades available. When I did my back testing, I had 5 trades available. I had taken 3 of those trades, and I'd missed 2 trades. Okay. Just going down here, I looked at that I'd taken any trades that weren't real. No, I hadn't taken any. I'd only taken those 3, and they were all valid trades. Had I made any errors on the trades I had taken? No. I had traded the entries and the stop losses and the targets as per my rules. So I had these 2 missed trades. Now, I think that given 5 trades, I've taken 3. That's more than half, and I'd made no wrong trades and I'd made no errors. It was a little bit not quite in line with reality to feel so incredibly bad when this isn't terrible. Okay, and then I dove into the analysis of these 2 missed trades. I went to look at my actual daily records of those trades, and here's what I had recorded. This was an entry on US CAD, and I had written there that I was deciding not to take this trade because I wasn't clear how to enter it based on my current rules. The setup was not as I had seen during my back testing, and I hadn't accounted for the specific variation. And there were kind of a couple of options of how I could trade it based on my rules, and I didn't know what to do. So I had uncertainty. The second trade, it was on US Swiss franc. I already had multiple trades open on this pair, and they hadn't reached target yet. And then I had a new entry, and I must say I did feel fear about, am I over risking? Am I adding more risk? Because if the trades move against me, am I going to be exposed to multiple open trades? And I looked at my rules, and my rules didn't actually address if there was a max trades open allowed. Now, if it doesn't specifically say it in my rules, is it allowed? Yes. I mean, anything's really allowed. It's just me and my rules. No one's going to come down and beat me because I've opened another trade. But my rules just didn't address it. So I erred on the side of I'm not clear, so I'm going to stay out of it. I've got a generic rule that just says if I can write down I'm not clear how this should work, because I can't find it in my rules, I'm allowed to, per my rules, not trade. That's my default. So I didn't trade that. But my both of these I've put down to that it's rules. It's clarity on rules is not there, so I'm going to add it to my next optimization session in July. But I need to, one of the things I do need to consider, which is why I've added in considerations here, is on trade one, saying that I wasn't clear how to enter, I need to at least consider, and that's part of the work I'm doing this week, is it really that that setup is not in my rules, or did I just force the fact that my rules aren't clear because I was too scared to take that trade? That's something I'm really open to considering, is that is it really a gap in my rules, or am I just saying that it wasn't clear? So I've got to do a bit more work on that one item. It's worth consideration for this week. But otherwise, I'm not going to change my rules now. I'm changing them during my optimization session in July. My overall review after the weekend of doing my review was that this was actually a good week. I completed all my journaling and meditation each day. I followed my rules when I did take the trades. I didn't make any errors. The 2 missed trades will be analyzed next month during optimization. Are they actual trades, or are they ones I should continue to miss in the future? And then, are my rules on number 1 clear or not? This has given me a more realistic view of how my trading went. This is a good week. Okay, I've got 2 trades I didn't take, but I've got 3 trades that I got in, and they were great trades. One other thing I want to just say is that an issue I had for a very long time was missed trades. I would miss a lot of trades. I would always err on the side of fear rather than FOMO. So wrong trades taken. FOMO I did for a while, probably up until about 4 years ago. And again, I fixed that I focused on it and then I fixed it. And I very rarely now take a trade from FOMO. I haven't done it for months. It's just not something that comes up often, because it's almost like second nature now, just don't FOMO. But missed trades is something that will rear its head every so often. It's far more common than FOMO. It's something that me personally, I have more of an issue with fear than I did with FOMO. And that's why I think that when I see missed trades, or when I know I've missed some trades, it makes me feel even worse than I think I should feel. And that's why doing this kind of review is really helpful, because it puts you on more of a par with reality than just allowing your feelings about something to form reality. Right, so I hope you've learned something, gotten some value out of this. I think the weekly review makes such a big difference, because it gives you a more realistic view of how you should be feeling, and it actually gives you a lot of confidence in your trading. It's going to make a real difference, and I want to hear how you went if you've implemented the system. Let me know how it went, and what additional things have you added to your weekly reviews that helps, because it's really interesting to see how people tweak things to make it kind of relevant and helpful to you personally. Remember, it's about one improvement every day, every week, one improvement. You will slowly have compound growth and compound improvement. Don't try and do everything at once, because, as you know, with trading, it's the overwhelm that really sabotages us. So you want to just stay very focused, clear, and address one thing at a time.